Today I'm going to be talking about the history of bendy, so let's get into it. Starting with the Mealy, one of the people who created bendy and the ink machine. The Mealy, whose real name is Paul Crawford, was born on September 9th, 1987. He is a game developer, a comic artist, a puppeteer, and a compositor, which I think is a guy who makes music or something like that. He was born in the United States and currently he lives in Ontario, Canada, which is where he founded the Mealy Games in 2015. The company's name was named after its mascot, which was the puppet found in its logo. The company was renamed to the Kindly Beast on September 15, 2018. On June 1st, 2020, the Kindly Beast's website and all its social media platforms were shut down, except its host website. Now we're gonna talk about all the chapter releases. Starting with chapter 1, because it's the first chapter released. Chapter 1 was called Moving Pictures and released on the 10th of February 2017. It gained popularity quickly and cemented the game in indie horror game history forever. Now we're gonna talk about chapter 2. Chapter 2 was called The Old Song and released on the 18th of April 2017. When this chapter released, Bendy got a new model and Boris also got a new model. We meet Sammy at the start of the chapter when we see him walking when we were walking through a hallway with ink. His true intentions were shown near to the end of the chapter. At the end of the chapter, we see Boris alive and well, unlike where he was dead in chapter 1. Now we're gonna talk about chapter 3. Chapter 3 was called Rise and Fall and released on the 28th of September 2017. In this chapter we explore more of the studio with Boris, and in the middle we're introduced to Alice Angel, who we learn at the end of the chapter is evil, but she was hinted as evil a lot in the chapter before the end. Continuing on, she was revealed as evil at the end of the chapter when we hear her say she's after Boris's ink, and after she says that and the elevator crashes, she kidnaps Boris. I'm pretty sure in the game when she kidnaps Boris, it looks like Boris is floating more than being dragged. Also before this chapter, most people thought that Alice Angel we would see in the chapter would be good, but as we learned she wasn't. Now we're gonna talk about chapter 4. Chapter 4 is called Colossal Wonders and released on the 30th of April 2018. In this chapter we explore more of the studio to find Boris and save him from Alice Angel. At the last stage of the chapter we find Boris and we're shocked to find that Boris has been turned into a zombie. We end up defeating him, making Alice angry, and she runs at us very, and I mean it very quickly. But before she could even do anything to us, she is stabbed by Alice Angel. Wait, what? But it's a different one, and one with good intentions. Now we're gonna talk about chapter 5. Chapter 5 was called The Last Reel and released on the 26th of October 2018. In this chapter we explore more of the studio and we are accompanied by the good Alice Angel and the new more stricter looking Boris for some of the chapter. Sammy returns in this chapter after his supposed death near the end of chapter 2. At the end of chapter 5 we fight Bendy and escape the studio. Then we're in Joey's apartment and he talks to us about a whole bunch of stuff. Then he tells us to come and visit the studio. Most people think this is a loop, and this is further proven when after we finish chapter 5 and play chapter 1 from the same save, we have the looking glass from chapter 5 that lets us see secret messages and drawings and more. Personally, I don't believe it's a loop. I believe that we do escape the studio and the scene of us in Joey's apartment is what happened before the start of the game. I also have some evidence is that at the end we defeat Bendy and there are bright lights. After escaping the studio, why would we come back to Joey's apartment? And if we did, why would we come back in the studio after what happened? Sure, we might have forgotten, but I think so forgetting it would be hard. Now let's go on to the spin-off games. We're gonna start with Bendy in Nightmare Run first. Bendy in Nightmare Run is a mobile spin-off game of Bendy and the Ink Machine which was released on the Google Play Store and App Store on the 15th of August 2018. It's similar to games such as Subway Surfers and Temple Run. Now we're gonna talk about Boris and the Dark Survival. It was released on the 10th of February 2020 for the game's third anniversary. There have been 3 updates: the Wolf Trials, the Unleashed, and the Symphony of the Shadows for the game, which added new content. In the game, you plunge to different levels to look for items while you're being chased by the Ink Demon. So now we're gonna talk about Bendy and the Dark Revival. Bendy and the Dark Revival has yet to come out yet. A gameplay trailer was originally shown in 2019. Chapter 1 was originally meant to release at the end of 2019, but was then delayed to 2020. In the mid of 2020, it was announced that the game would release in full with all its chapters. It was then delayed to 2021 and it didn't release in 2021. No further release dates have been given, and in my opinion that's good because it just became tiring to hear the game keep on getting delayed again and again and again, and you get the point. Now we're gonna go through all the Bendy books as quickly as possible. There were 5 Bendy books. They are Joy Studios Employees Handbook, which released on the 30th of July 2019. Bendy Dreams Come to Life, which released on the 3rd of September 2019. Bendy Crack Up Comics, which released on the 1st of September 2020. Bendy The Illusion of Living, which released on the 2nd of February 2021. And Bendy The Lost Ones, which released on the 7th of December. I've read all the books and my favorite one is the Crack Up Comics or The Illusion of Living. Now we're going to quickly talk about fan games. A few years ago, they mainly meant to take down most fan games. Some notable ones they took down were Bendy Downward Fall, Prequel of the Demon, and Bendy Reese's Story 1 and 2. Now they're cool if you follow the fan game guidelines. That's the history of Bendy. I spent a lot of time and effort into this video, so I would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye!